Don't do that.
Show him your love.
See if you got it.
And your perfect plan. You gave me my ears. I can hear your voice so clear. I can hear the cries of sinners. But can I wipe away their tears? Give me my voice.
He's here.
To speak your word, to sing all your praises, to know to never hurt. But with my eyes I see your need for more availability. I see hearts that have been broken. So many people to be free. Lord, I'm available to you. I give to you. I'll do what you say do. Use me, Lord, to show someone the way and enable me to say, my storage is empty, and I am available to you. Now I'm giving back to you all the tools you gave to me. My hands, my ears, my voice, my eyes, so you can use them as you please. I have emptied out my cup so that you can fill me up. Now I'm free, I just want to be more available to you. Lord, I'm available to you. I will. I'll do what you say. Use me, Lord, to show someone the way. It enable me to stay. My storage is
You and Brenda so noisy.
What?
We can hear every scratch. Thank you, everyone. Please like and share. Please like and share before this song is over. My hero is going to be on here tonight.
Is that light okay? Because I can get on the other side of the room. Huh?
You're fine.
No. He said no.
It's too dark.
You get on my nerves.
You asked.
Well, you waited till now to say something. Oh, Jesus, that's kind of low. Oh, hold up. I'll move the chair around.
Now it look like you're in the county jail.
Smarty pants.
I swear I was going to try to be nice tonight with Dr. Brown on here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry. Forgive me, Dr. Brown.
That's all right.
Oh, hey, I'm in my suite. That's the
Dr.
entryway
Brown
to the
really
suite.
knows me. He really knows me.
Oh, yeah. From way back.
So he know what he in for.
All right. What's up, everybody? Today is July 22nd, 2023. And yesterday was my 54th birthday. I celebrated my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Means so much. And I've been gone all week. The first part of the week I spent with my babies. The first 4 days, Sunday through Wednesday night, I spent with my babies. And then I got away. A little relaxation. And swimming and more swimming and cruising last night on the water. People was asking me where was I. None of your business where I am. I don't want to look up and see all you church people where I go. I don't tell you.
It's a breath and respite.
Yeah, I don't tell you church people where everybody is. Thanks. So I wanted to say thank you all. Happy birthday. I don't know, over 1,500 texts and emails and inboxes. I'm humble. Dr. Brown and Wayne, y'all like Brenda, you like this. I'm loved for some things and hated for the same things I'm loved for. I don't. Dr. Brown, you probably can understand that. You've been fighting for civil rights for a long time, but it's amazing that how many people can't stand you, but then how many people do love you. So, but I'm appreciative for the stuff. Huh?
That's the paradox of human existence.
Yeah, I guess so, Doc.
But for every blessing, there is a pain.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh.
Then we might have some gain.
Burrell preachers. Y'all, Dr. Brown gonna be here tonight. Y'all know he gonna be dropping bombshells all night. He just started, all right? He got it in him. It comes natural. Dr. Brown, hold on a second. Let me, Wayne and Brenda, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back.
Oh, all right.
Thank you. Wayne has been in a, well, that's I start a series next Sunday for Family and Friends Day when David ran to the cave of Adullam.
Yes.
I'm calling that thing, I'm coming out of my cave.
Yeah.
I'm coming out of my cave. Yes. So a whole lot of stuff has transpired and occurred since I've been gone this week. I have not watched any news. I ain't watched CNN, MSNBC. I haven't watched any of that. I haven't watched any local news. I really haven't been on social media because I don't want to be on vacation with my kids and doing church work and all on social media. So I'll put up some videos of me and my kids having a ball. I'm such a girl's dad. So yeah. So there's a whole lot been going on. So last week there was a 2-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 12-year-old who got shot in Oakland. From my understanding, none of them died, but one of them will 9 times out of 10 be paralyzed probably for the rest of their lives, because these young Negroes, these African Americans, won't stop shooting and hurting people and injuring people who had nothing to do with the assignment that you're on. They had nothing to do with it. Last Sunday, I couldn't even preach because the spirit was so high in the Victory Baptist Church. My nurse, and I'm not going to name her name, my nurse son was in town. So she had all of her grandkids together, went to the Alameda Beach. Wayne, listen at this. Dr. Brown, listen at this. Went to the Alameda Beach. I told this right before I was attempting to preach Sunday. And they had fun. They stayed there for hours. They came back to her car and they loaded the car up with their coolers and their swimming clothes and chairs and tents and stuff like that. They was putting it back in her van, and they loaded up on their way home. As they're on the freeway, they come home. They get off the freeway. They come home, and believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, they found a hole in the back of her trunk.
My God.
A big bullet hole in the back of her trunk. She's in a car with, I think, 4 or 5 of her grandkids, and she's going through the car and she's looking for the bullet. Dr. Brown, Wayne, she found the bullet in an insulated portable cooler is where she found the bullet. They were driving on the freeway, never knew that their car had got shot.
Wow.
Sure. Needless to say, Brenda, Wayne, y'all know. Hey, Nisi, y'all know about Victory. We are a high praise church. We love to worship and praise the Lord at the Victory Baptist Church, and we never got to the sermon because we shouted and thanked the Lord for sparing their lives. Because the truth of the matter is, what if the bullet would have hit her and she would have flipped around in something and killed her grandkids and everybody? It's a possibility everybody could. One or everybody. It's a possibility. So God blocked that thing, and I bless God for my member who they didn't even feel anything. So I give all the glory, honor, and praise to the Lord. But these Negroes got to stop this nonsense, Dr. Brown. Just like what's going on over in San Francisco. So let's get to, hold on, before we bring Dr. Brown in. Brenda, where do we want to start tonight? Wayne, where do we want to start tonight? Because we always start off with Oakland. Okay, let's start off. Let's start off with this one. I'm sorry, Brenda. Let's start off with this one because I'm getting old now. I'm a year older after yesterday. What about the new city attorney proposing to give the mayor a $70,000 increase a year raise?
75, and he's the new administrator.
The new administrator. However, it was reduced. It was reduced to 13,000, Marty.
We know that. I know that. We know that part. But you was on vacation. You was camping last week, Wayne. I just want to know, when in the hell is $17,000 a month not enough money to live off of, even in Oakland?
The pressures of modern day politics.
Exactly.
It's called stripping the constituents as much as you can while you're in office before you get recalled.
No, hell, it's called pimping. That's what it's called.
But they never said where they got it from, though. Where'd they get it from?
The money that they say they didn't have.
Yeah, where'd they get it from?
From the police budget.
They already took their money, so where'd they get it from?
Right.
Trust me, they pulled it from somewhere else. They took their money and gave
it to other people. So where did they get that money from?
They got that money from somewhere else.
Of course they did.
Well,
as the old folks say, there's always a little extra.
Right.
But you know what?
I'm pissed because why did she need she only been in office for 6 months. You ain't even been evaluated yet. And they bring this up. Listen, it may be some other cities that make a whole lot of, you ain't London Breed. Dr. Brown's member and his city. You not London Breed. You ain't doing the type of stuff London Breed do. You don't have a budget like London Breed. London Breed is
Marty,
doing something for the city of San Francisco.
Marty
Peters. Doc Peters.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to the days of Jesus. Jesus is our motto. Jesus is our example. During the times of Jesus of Nazareth, those Caesars who lived off the fat of the land and cared less about those who lived in Nazareth were doing the same thing.
Okay.
Nothing is new under the sun. And remember, Jesus said, don't be like the publicans, and those were the Romans, and sometimes the Sadducees and Pharisees were accomplices with it, who lord over people, want to be in charge. They have titles, but not a testimony, seats, but not service. And Jesus said, he or she who would be the greatest among you must first be a servant.
Yes, sir.
And using your name, Dr. Peters, the book of Peters, First Peter,
Yes.
what does it say? You show that you are holy. That is, Hagios, to be different. When you first tell the truth, number one, and secondly, when you show love one for the other. That's it. Our nation, this Bay Area, San Francisco, and Oakland are a way distance from what Jesus was about. We claim to be a Christian nation. We claim on our coins, in God we trust. But our gods are materialism, militarism, and racism. So the mayor's body politic has been infected with those isms. And I feel that it is our moral obligation to, in love and respect, call them out, as you're doing, Dr. Peters.
Doc, listen, Dr. Brown, I've been had the same number. You know that. You've been had it all 28 years. You've been had this number that I had, that I call you on a regular. I had that at Morris Brown College when you me through college. It's been the same number. I'm not running from nothing, and I'm not running for anything. I just tell the truth. That's why our podcast, Dr. Brown, is called Real Talk. We deal with real life issues. I ain't scared of nobody. I'm not scared of Chantal. I'm not scared of Pamela Price. I ain't scared of London Breed. I'm not scared of nobody. I'm scared of Jesus Christ. I ain't scared of these folk on the street because, first of all, I ain't wronging people. I don't have to keep looking over my back. I'm not wronging people. I'm not robbing, killing. I ain't selling dope. I ain't plotting nobody's demise. So I feel free talking on Real Talk. And then I bring my buddies on who love to be real, keep it real, who see what's going on in the streets of Oakland, the streets of San Francisco, the Bay Area, and even the nation. And we come on here every Saturday night and talk about real life issues. I just don't see, as bad as we are with over 6,000 homeless people in Oakland. Folk can't get a job. They're trying to make Oakland baby San Francisco. Gentrification. They refuse. I mean, Dr. Brown, a couple of weeks ago, this is the honest God truth, and Brenda is my witness. Brenda told me that the police department, the 911 dispatchers on Monday was trying to return phone calls that people had called 911 on Friday and over the weekend, and they were 1,000 calls behind.
My goodness.
That's true.
Brenda Wayne, am I telling the truth?
That's the truth.
That's true. They were so behind, they were trying to decide which of the calls had priority.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what? San Francisco contributes to that unfortunate reality. For just last night, I call it for what it was. A pack of young teenagers from middle school to high school left Potrero Hill and went over to Oakland, into the Chinatown area. And they were out there preying upon frail Asian senior citizens. We got to speak out about that.
Exactly.
Yes, we have problems, racism, and all that. Yes, we just came out of the pandemic. Yes, there are challenges in the families and homes, but we need for prophets in the pulpit to stand up and say, enough is enough. We must get a hold of this situation and bring our young people to the elders and sit them down and talk with them and let them know that they are precious, yes, and we are not going to tolerate this kind of preying upon other people who happen to be different. And definitely we need to stop the preying in our own communities too.
Right.
So that's why the NACP tomorrow at 3 o'clock at Third Baptist is going to have a major meeting, a come to Jesus meeting, in which we're going to say it's time for us to say, as families and as churches, young people, you got pain. Yes, we know. But we know that through Jesus and through our ministers, you can be healed. You can be set free from that emotional, psychological, and physical imprisonment that you're in. And that's what it is. It's an imprisonment where they have been locked down to this violent culture, to this materialism where they're looking for bling blings and not realizing that the thing that really matters and really counts is for you to have something in your brain and know how to use that brain, that mind, and your hands for the good of others and for yourself and to praise God. That's the Trinitarian thing we got to get over to our communities. Putting
Dr.
God first, others second, and self last.
Dr.
And when
Brown.
we do that, we won't be out here tempted to be going around and robbing folks and doing things that are destructive and not at all constructive.
Dr. Brown, I need to cut you off right here for one moment. Dr. Brown, you know how hard Brenda, because we've talked, you've seen us on the news fighting for LaRon Armstrong's job.
Yes.
I was highly disappointed, Dr. Brown, and very hurt that not enough Black pastors came to LaRon's defense. As far as I know, I'm still the only one still talking about how stupid it was for us not to come together for a greater cause for our city. Ever since LaRon has been fired, it's been proven data, Doc Brown, because his love for Oakland, because he was not scared, he would come to any part of town. It's going to be hard to find somebody that can replace someone who has charisma and character of a LaRon Armstrong. They dogged him out. And I've even had preachers, Dr. Brown, and I'll tell you offline who they were, that said he was part of the problem. And I'm like, what part of the problem? What is he? The crime has been down. There's been no officer involved shooting on no nationality. He was doing the work. He was out trying to make peace in the community. I'm trying to figure out, Dr. Brown, it was very, Dr. Brown, honest to God, preacher showed up one time. They talked in front of the cameras, but they didn't show up for no other press conferences. They press release. They didn't show up for any of that stuff, Doc. And what is your approach to try to get pastors there? Because you said we need to make this announcement from the pulpit. We need to make this announcement from the pulpit. What is our strategy for that? Because Doc, I'm not chasing no camera. I don't get paid for a dime that I do, Doc. I don't. I pastor church and I have a job. I don't get paid for this. I don't get paid to take a lunch or to leave work early or to clock out and clock back in. I don't do any of that. I mean, to me, it kind of seems like if it's not your church, then with pastors, then some of them are like, "Hey, man, listen, Doc, my hands is full with my church." So, Doc, I just want to know, what is your approach on trying to get these? Because it needs to be a collaborative effort from both sides of the bridge.
Yeah.
Well, Doc, first of all, I would say they need to realize what's in the book. I'm only going by the book. Jesus was a street preacher.
He was.
He was not a part of the quote unquote establishment, the temple. He was always with the disinherited. Dr. Howard Thurman wrote a definitive book on Jesus and the disinherited.
Yeah, Howard Thurman. Yes, sir.
Which every preacher should read. He was reared in Nazareth. Don't you remember what Nathaniel said when he was told by his fellow disciples that they had met the Lord? He said, "Can any good thing come out of Nazareth?"
Nazareth.
Why was Nazareth stigmatized? Because it was the hood.
Yeah.
It was the place where the least, the left behind, looked over, lived. And in addition to ministering to those who are well off and situated, and some of us are, but Jesus did have some friends, Joseph of Arimathea and others, whom he related to. But he spent most of his time with those who needed a push, a hand up, not a handout, but a hand up through providing resources for them, whether healing them, feeding them, and if they were lonely, he befriended them. That's what the gospel was about. Totally. No more, no less. And we don't have enough of that happening in our land and in many of our churches. There are some, like yourself, who are on the right side of history and who know what the good news is all about. Setting the captives free, enabling the lame to walk, helping those who are blind to see, whether it's physical, or mental, or social blindness. That's what Jesus was about. So I hope that from this conversation that we're having, that we can increasingly so get the word out to all of the leaders and say, come on, spare some time doing exactly what Jesus did and not getting caught up in the machinery of religiosity.
Wayne, Brenda?
I don't know how you follow that, but
Right.
Brenda,
That's kind of hard.
That's absolutely correct. I think the other piece, as Dr. Brown was talking, I was thinking there is definitely a lapse in what is considered domestic leadership, and the body of Christ is losing that influence that it once held years ago. I recall when I was a young man and the pastor of a local church had as much influence as the governor of the state. His word, his influence, his ability to navigate his congregation through the maze of politics and social unrest and economic concerns and so forth. The church is has lost that influence. And I'm wondering, Dr. Brown, how do we get that back? We are locked in a struggle between the political pull and the public respect when it comes to the church.
I think we need to have a school of the prophets.
Mm.
Remember, Jesus said,
I like that, Doc.
when after he had read from Luke 4, he said, a prophet is without honor in his own hometown and village. Jesus was a prophet, not a puppet of the political process. He was a prophet. And he was always pointing up to what should be done to challenge and speak truth to the power centers of his day. So some may need on-the-job training. On-the-job training. They're decent persons, but they have been exposed to that which is a far cry from what real spirituality is all about. And Jesus was the epitome of what we should be about as spiritual leaders, in my estimation. So if we could have more, and just the other day, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, our old friend, as he put it, he's not retiring, but he's just pivoting from being president of Operation Rainbow Push. And now a son in the ministry from the Bay Area, Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes III, has been chosen as his successor to lead that organization. But Reverend Jackson very eloquently stated, first of all, that we were somebody, and some persons don't feel that they're anybody, so they take these shortcuts to paradise to gain meaning, and don't realize that meaning and worth and value comes from, as I said earlier, being a servant, because Jesus said he or she who would be the greatest among you must first be a servant. And we need more servant leadership. So in a school of the prophets, hopefully we can do more to impart to our preachers the need to just be what Jesus asked us to be, servants, and not those potentates and prophets who are not connected with the people, but their interest has been relegated to me, my, and I, my church, my religion, my class. No, Jesus was a person for all people.
So, Marty, to answer your question, I think you asked a very interesting question. What about in Oakland, but it's also nationwide? How do you harness the pastoral climate here in Oakland to support? I remember when I first met you, Marty. It was through Dion Evans' Saturday talk. That's right. And you were leading a group of members on Friday night. You guys were
ceasefire.
Ceasefire. That's right.
Yes, sir.
And you have been involved. Boy, that was many years ago. Since then, so. But even back then, you didn't have the kind of support that you should have received.
No, not even my close friends came and joined. But I understand it.
No, you don't.
No, let me tell you what I understand. I understand that people, and this go back to Dr. Brown days, because I don't know, y'all two don't know, but y'all do know that the one class that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. taught at Morehouse College Dr. Brown was one of his students. So what I'm about to go back is the book from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote, Dr. Brown, the letter from Birmingham jail, which Dr. Martin Luther King was bashing out at the National Baptist Convention of America, USA, for them, because they was like, man, let the white people stay over there. Let us stay over there. We tired of getting bit by dogs. We're tired of getting attacked. We're tired of going to jail. We're tired of water holes being used on us. And Dr. Martin Luther King was like, if y'all can't be nonviolent, don't join the call at all. And so I believe from that book and out of that, some preachers use that, just like black men don't go to the hospital because they use the Tuskegee experiment of why black men don't go to the hospital. And I think black preachers became non-socially involved, and all they cared about was church and preaching. And Dr. Martin Luther King, that's how the progressive Yo Church, National Baptist Convention of America, started, from that book, from that letter. Am I right? Am I close to that, Dr. Brown?
Let me say this, Dr. Peters. I knew J.H. Jackson very well. He and my late aunt, Amos Brown, went to school together at Jackson State College that became Jackson State University.
Okay.
Dr. Jackson was supportive of Dr. King from day one.
Okay.
In fact, he went down to Montgomery and took, so to speak, tubs of money for the movement. But what happened? The American press put a wedge between the two, as the press does today, to divide and conquer. Now, some of this, maybe for Dr. Jackson, was ego, but in terms of his heart from day one, he supported the movement.
Okay.
That he did. And you had around him persons who were aspiring, who were opportunistic, who created, even in the National Baptist Convention, a division, who were happy for positions. Now, let me say further, the facts reveal that only 3% of the black churches in America were involved in the civil rights struggle.
My point.
That it was a romanticized statement that the quote unquote black church was out there. No, it was not. And even in my hometown of Jackson, there were only 4 churches where a civil rights meeting could be called by Medgar Evers. Farris Street,
Name them, Doc.
Pearl Street AME Church, College Hill Baptist Church over there near Jackson College, and New Mount Zion. Do you know who was pastor of New Mount Zion? Henry Davis's late father. 4 churches.
Okay.
The other churches, they would say, don't come here with that civil rights stuff. I'm sticking with the gospel. That was the reality back there. And this was confirmed, documented by the Joint Center for Political Studies in Washington, D.C. years ago. So you always had just a handful who made change.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's always been just a remnant that stayed true to the real meaning of spirituality and the good news of the gospel. But if we could just have a handful of preachers, I remember the story of Lot and Sodom. It's just a handful of righteous folk were left that the city was spared. Just a handful that somebody of remnant was spared. So it's good to have every now and then large numbers, but you don't always have the numbers with you. And remember, the numbers left Jesus.
True.
When he wasn't giving out bread and things got tough and rough, they left him.
That's that 4,000 crowd. That's that 4,000 crowd.
That's right. That's right.
Not the
But
5,000.
yes, sir. So if we could just have a handful who are committed, consistent, courageous, and know what to do.
Brenda, I think that's good news for us, me, you, and Wayne. Doc just said a whole lot right there.
Well, I'm gonna see. You know, I'm up against something really tough here, and I'm gonna just see how many preachers are gonna stand. You know, as I'm fighting for the families here in our city, I'm just gonna see. I'm not crossing no fingers, but that's gonna really show because it's not personal. It's about the families that are suffering in our city, and at any given time, you could be a part of that number. So what are you standing for? The church is supposed to be there for those families. I'm a little old mama here. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm out here about to do something that I shouldn't even have to do.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it should be done by somebody else, you know, even though I can't talk about it right now, but I can. You know, everybody know we're recalling Pamela Price. So, you know, I'm going to see how many people are going to support. I am the primary. That means my name is first, right under the lawyers. It's just an ethical thing for the families that I've been dealing with for 12 years and the new families. It's ethical. They've been through trauma and they're continuing to go through trauma. So I'm gonna see who gonna stand with me in these families of our color, because I have a whole lot of support from other races. I have a whole lot of support.
Well, you do know that I'm standing with you. So that's
I know you are. I know, but see,
I'm
it ain't
standing with
just.
you. And I give no cares, and I'm not apologizing to my church. I'm not apologizing to my job. I'm not apologizing to nobody in my community for standing with you, because right is right and wrong is wrong. And it's always been that way. Dr. Brown, Brenda is, I'm positive you've seen her on the news and you've heard about her foundation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Brenda is a advocate for victim of violent crimes. These parents that are left here, their sons and daughters and babies have been murdered, and Brenda stand with these people. And we have a DA in Oakland that's cutting these crimes, these sentences down to nothing. Dr. Brown, it ain't even a slap on the wrist. When I was coming up, they used to say that ain't nothing but a slap on the wrist. No, it's a slap on the pinky finger with another finger.
Oh, boy. Well, Brenda, have you met Matty Scott?
Yeah, I've been to her.
With the Healing. Yes. Well, we need to strengthen that relationship and work on both sides of the bay, because it's about every other week that young people are blowing each other away.
Yeah.
These violent crimes. And at our meeting of the NACP, that's why we're going to spend focused time on this issue of what happened last night, to really get at the bottom of it and check with the police department, the DA, the West Side Mental Health Clinic, and a lot of these other community-based organizations to see how they're doing, whether or not they are delivering, and what more help they need. And you see, as we talk about even now, reparations, I know a lot of people have been jumping up and down about money. But what many don't realize is money is a part of the equation. Remember, Jesus said, man or woman shall not live by bread alone, or frog skins alone. You got to have it plus. But what's that plus? We need the basics. And the basic was from the day that even reparation was begun in 1865 on January the 12th, it was about land, 40 acres and later a mule, a base, real estate, being able to own a house. Vernon Johns, who preceded Dr. King at Dexter Church in Montgomery, once said,
yes, sir,
if you want to see an example of perpetual motion, sell a Cadillac car to a Negro and tell him to park it somewhere.
Yeah.
He was about way back there in 1949, before Dr. King came on the scene, trying to
Yeah.
get people in Dexter Avenue Church to own some land.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to reclaim this land that's been taken away from us by eminent domain, by shysters and crooks, the Fillmore, West Oakland. That ought to be at the top of the list of reparations. And so it would benefit the people, not just one person, not an extreme capitalist by himself or herself, but for the good of the people, the summum bonum, because we are. Therefore, I am. We've got to put some weakness in this thing and look out for the group. And we have all of this real estate where these prisons and jails were. That's what the state and these local communities ought to be given to Black folks, since we've been locked up in them, and many unjustly.
Wow.
That's something you deal with. The second thing is we need education.
Yes, sir.
We need to be enlightened. There is no value in not knowing. Ignorance is not blissful, it is dangerous. That's why dictators are created, because they prey upon the minds that are empty to maintain power. And right now, we have this fellow, DeSantis, down there in Florida, even telling us that slavery was beneficial. Here you got somebody out there telling that lie. Well, when you really read and get all of the basic facts, the good facts, you will discover that we have always profited through education. That's why we established those historically Black colleges after enslavement. And just think of what Booker T. Washington and others, and Benjamin Mays, Mordecai Wyatt Johnson did. And Freedmen's Bureau was about establishing Howard University.
Yeah.
And the Howard Hospital. Those are basic institutions that we must maintain in our communities if we are going to survive. And then don't forget about health. We need physical health, environmental health, and we need the counseling of psychiatric help. Just think about it. Suicide is on the ascendancy in our community. We used to didn't do that. We didn't go that far. But now young people are taking their lives. So we need these clinics, these mental health clinics, to be expanded in Oakland and San Francisco, so that these families and children can receive the help that they deserve having. And then, of course, we got to have economic empowerment. You have all of this infrastructure work going on, even that. And who's out there getting those jobs operating that major equipment? Not us. Asians, Latinos, and whites. Billions of dollars. And we need to make sure that we realize that it's so unfortunate that even if we got some reparations money, some of us, not all of us, but some of us will know how to invest it and turn it over in the community.
Right.
But the facts reveal that as long as that a dollar stays in the Black community, is 6 hours. In the Jewish community, 20 days. And in the Asian community, 30 days. So what we're doing, we are blowing the money away, even such as we have, and not letting it, making it work for us.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the basic things. And if by miraculous ways, through faith, we do get them to open up their hearts to agree to some money, we still got to know what to do with it when we get it.
Exactly.
Wow. Doc, your mind is so bright, Doc. Your mind is still sharp, still bright. That's why you will always be my forever hero. And I know I'm not by myself. Burrell over in Delbert Burrell over at St. Mark in Sacramento is on there. You killing him, Doc. He was like, he ain't just your hero, he my hero too. Yeah, Doc, we love you, Doc. Young preachers love you. Older preachers love you, Doc. Bishop Millican talking about Dr. Brown is helping us tonight. And it's the truth of the matter is, Doc, they're over here putting in only 3% of churches in the civil rights movement followed the civil rights movement and supported the civil rights movement.
Yes, Lord.
4 churches in Jackson, Mississippi, your hometown, which is right next to Columbia, where my family is from.
That's right.
My family right down the street.
That's
Bishop
right.
Millican said, you his hero too. It was only 4 churches. Well, I think 3 Baptist churches and 1 AME church. Doc, it's still like that right now, Doc. And here we are. How many years ago was that? What year was that? That was 80, 90 years ago, Doc Brown?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's still like that right now. Doc, we had a town hall. And I'm going to tell you right here on my page, because I give no cares who get mad at me. Bishop Joseph Simmons was there. Bishop Jackson was there. Pastor Wayne Jackson was there. Pastor Ty Wheelock was there. And Pastor Marty Peters was there. Those are the 5 black pastors that were there.
Well, Doc, it's true to form. That's what's happening. Yeah. Well, look, I must beg to be excused. I got to make an urgent call regarding this meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
But I will welcome the opportunity to sharing with you again and following up.
Thank you.
And strengthening our forces on both sides of the bay.
Dr. Brown, one more time before you go, tell us the time, the address for the important meeting on tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 3:00 at 3rd Baptist at 1399 McAllister, right on the corner of McAllister and Pierce. Starting sharply at 3:00. We want to take care of business, and we will have subsequent meetings throughout August and September, leading up to the time of our reparations task force final report on the 19th of September at City Hall.
Okay.
Dr. Brown, will this meeting be Zoom? Will it be on any social medias, or you have to be in the place?
Well, it can be it's virtual, and we make sure that we get the Zoom information out, virtual and in person. So we encourage in-person meeting. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Brown. Love you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for the great work you all are doing. We appreciate you. Love you.
That means a lot coming from you, though.
Keep the faith. Hold your hope. Don't let go.
All right.
Okay.
Good to see you, Dr. Brown.
Good to see
all right.
All right.
At 81 years old, his mind is still
81.
right. And what he was said, I mean, he took the Jesus approach, which is the approach we all ought to take, the Jesus approach. Wayne been trying to tell me that for a long time. Come on, Doc, let's do it like the Bible. Like, nah, man, I'm from East Oakland. I would have, I would have taken it into my own head sometimes.
That was an interesting conversation, because I was sitting, trying to get ready for the next week. And I was thinking, I said, okay, besides Wayne and Marty, how many preachers are going to be on the side of right and stand with these families?
And Brenda, it's very interesting. It's very interesting that the way you phrase that, because you would think, here we talk about, we always preface something by saying, this is for the children.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to get a bill passed, this is for the children of America. If we want to fight a particular cause, this is for the children. This is for the children.
Mm-hmm.
Even the argument around abortion is for the children. You know, the tension between pro-choice and pro-life, the children.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, when you have the opportunity to stand up for children, you see how much we do.
You in the back, way back.
The children.
Yeah.
See, and so it's rhetoric that has no real teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dr. Brown was correct. It's a paradox that, you know, and Marty knows we've been Black Baptists all our lives. So if you know, you can get more people coalesce around what color the carpet can be than you can to fight the cause of children.
Correct.
So, you know, it's a paradox. It's a, you know, how do we lose that? You know, I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. But as a kid, I remember my great uncle and uncles and cousins all in the National Baptist fighting for the community, standing up for civil rights in the 60s. You know, I remember Dr. E.V. Hill coming to Los Angeles with that vision of bridging, you know, the communities. I mean, even though he was.
Don't forget about my grandfather, Dr. A.A. Peters at the Victory Baptist Church, Doc.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
5,000 members in the 60s, Doc.
So we've lost a lot of that emphasis.
Mm-hmm.
The things that we are promoting today is taking us away from what you're talking about, Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's bad because right now
that's really bad.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the biggest fights we fought in a while.
I still say, even with the voice of the most powerful Black man in Northern California, definitely is Dr. Amos Brown, who is nationally and internationally known. Remember, Third Baptist Church is the oldest church west of the Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think Third is like 160 something years old now, 170 something years old.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he gave us some hope with that 3%. He gave us some hope with that 3%. I mean, look how far we've come with 3%, y'all.
Yeah.
Look how far we've come with 3%. Well, we're a long way to go, but look how far we've come with the 3%. Look what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did with 3%.
But when are we going to start fighting our own fights and stop expecting everybody else to step in?
Well, see, now that's when you go. See, that's the mixture between Martin and Malcolm. And I'm with Farrakhan on this one. I don't agree with everything he say, but I do agree with a whole lot of stuff he say. When are we gonna stop asking white people to help us do stuff that we can do, that God gave us the anointing and the ability to do ourselves? I'm with Louis Farrakhan on that. I just heard him say that last week. When in the world is Black people going to stop asking white people to help us do stuff that we have the zest, the zeal, the tenacity to do?
Never.
We didn't ask nobody to help us fighting for LaRon. We didn't ask nobody to help us. Sometimes
I didn't. We don't do that, you know, but we shouldn't have to though either.
For what's right, we shouldn't have to.
We shouldn't have to. If you say boo, it should be packed.
Exactly.
But that's where the dysfunction, right? That's where the dysfunction surfaces, because not everybody sees the atrocity the same. Not everybody sees the firing of LaRon Armstrong, the moral issue related to that he was removed from his office unjustly. And so, you know, when you have advocates in the community saying to their congregation he needed to go.
Mhm.
He needed to go. I'm talking about preachers. That
Mhm.
LaRon needed to go because he was part of the
Doc,
problem.
man, Doc, that made me so mad, Doc. I could.
How
I
do
was
you
like,
how do you combat that publicly?
Right.
Because here they're hearing their spiritual leader tell them he needed to go.
and Wayne, Brenda, I still want to. What did Wayne do that was caused him to be taken out of office?
Who is
We ain't-
Wayne?
I mean, LaRon. I'm sorry.
Like, where you going, Wayne? What happened?
It ain't been no sexual harassment cases. It ain't been no misappropriation of funds, money. It ain't been nothing out of character. It ain't been nothing illegal. It ain't been nothing that was for him to be taken out of his position.
I'll be done in a minute.
It wasn't. It wasn't nothing done. It wasn't nothing done. It wasn't nothing done. Nothing.
But see, that's the uneducation of the community, because everything is hearsay. But
Right.
then the hearsay is all they know. The facts is not what they're getting. Well, it's a quiet corner conversation. When if you would have been following this all along, we've been going through this for 20 years. Every time we get ready to get out of monitorship, something comes up. It's not about LaRon. It's about somebody keeping the $100,000 a month that we give them. And what could we be doing with $100,000 a month when we got all these homeless people? A whole bunch.
It's called exploitation. It's an exploitation. It's part of the whole legacy of the oppression that African Americans have had to come up under from day one. And so it's the same kind of seed that has been planted, and it's called exploitation. They found a niche and they're milking it all for what they want, because they're not going to be put out because they have enough of us supporting them.
See, and see that's oh Jesus Christ, that bothers me right there, because every time the black community take a hit and we don't fight, we don't say nothing, we at odds with each other, that just gives clear people another reason to do what the hell they want to do to us, because we're not going to come together. We're not going to be on one accord. I just keep it real, my audience. That is the most stupidest thing I could. Listen, me, Wayne, and Brenda don't agree on every single thing.
No,
but
we
y'all
don't.
would never know it because we not gonna fight publicly.
Right.
We just be gangster behind the scenes.
We're gonna be gangster behind the scenes, but when we come out, we gonna be like, hey, I love you. Hey, big bro. Hey, little bro. Hey, sister. Hey, brother. We're gonna put up a united fight.
See, Marty and I will show up when you get your certificate, Brenda. See, we're gonna.
We didn't know everything.
Woo!
Brenda, did I tell you Wayne almost had an asthma attack on the way home?
He almost had an asthma attack when he walked in the door. I saw it.
Well, he almost had another one because I wouldn't stop. He was coughing and choking like, Peter, shut up. And I would not stop talking. I would not stop talking.
Here's the real thing
We're gonna put up a front. We're gonna put up a front. That's the same thing go along the church I pastor. My niece is sitting right here. We don't agree on everything, but I will say this: even if my church don't agree with everything I do and some decisions that I want to make and some things I want to do, they're not going to fight me because they're still going to respect their pastor. And we still going to be on one accord. And they're going to say, hey, if that's what God told you to do, we totally support you. And I ain't had no fight in 15 years. Because I'm just not going to mistreat my people, and I'm not going to pimp my people, and I'm not going to let no other preacher or prophetess or bishop or archbishop or Jesus Jr. come in and pimp my people either.
Jesus, Junior.
I mean, what other titles do we got?
We let people use us to try to make points. We keep hearing, that the African Americans are disproportionate in the judicial system. There are more African Americans in jail than other races. That's not the truth. And I just saw some numbers where we actually are not. But we look at the videos every single day of people, and just like Pastor Brown said, of people getting robbed, people getting, shot and killed. And what color are the people that are doing the crimes?
It's us with ski masks on in the broad daylight.
But they black. So if we're doing most of the crime, so who's going to be in jail?
The people that's doing most.
Well, that's who's supposed to be in jail.
Right, but you got to look at the benefit of that. It's not just the crime; it's the benefit of that. The hierarchy within the criminal justice conscience is that they benefit off of our statistics, and so you see, and so they don't get a lot of federal funds by saying 15 white people committed 9 crimes last month. They don't get federal funds for that. But let them say that 15 young black men, we're going to do a study on these dudes. They get all kinds of funding for that because they justify it. See? As long as they're doing a study, they do more studies on us than they do anything else. Yeah. And so, we've had enough studies to shake a stick at. But when it comes down to reform, and we started speaking about the reform of the system, they don't want to hear that. But they use our statistics to get money.
Right.
And again, Brenda, it's this whole issue of, as I get upset with some of us who want to say that the Republicans do this. Listen,
I'm a Republican
or Democrat. They're the same. They're on the same plane, riding on different sides of the plane. All right. So let's not. Now there's some benefit. There are some benefit because there are some issues that are really that we really need to push, and we're getting some help from the Democrats. However, when it comes down to some of the things that are really pertinent to our living, they've come up short. Mm-hmm. They've come up short, and they want to blame it on policy and decorum and all that kind of BS. But when they could have stopped this whole issue of the Supreme Court being ramshot and flipped, some time ago, Democrats had the power to do that. They didn't do it because of some procedural issue. Are you kidding me? See, the Democrats play with sticks. Republicans play with Uzis.
With who?
Uzis. They don't play. When they give a chance, they blow stuff up. Oh. And that's why they across this country, these Republican governors are turning time backwards when it comes to civil rights policies and legislation across the country. School boards, city councils, county jurisdictions, courthouses are being flipped across this country. They're overturning almost every civil rights legislation that we have on the books. They are fighting them. They're trying to get them. They're trying to distort history. They're trying to. Dr. Brown was talking about it. They have a textbook that teachers are required to teach that slaves benefited from slavery. They learned skills that helped them to benefit. Are you kidding me?
Well, why the hell they didn't pay them? If they benefited, why the hell they didn't pay them? We were forced to do that. We weren't.
They're saying it's servitude. They're saying that they don't even use that term anymore. They're saying it was voluntary. It was voluntary servitude.
In Florida, that's what they're teaching in Florida.
In Florida, right, Florida, Texas, Alabama, Florida, Texas, Arkansas, South Carolina, Tennessee. They all fight. They all trying to turn this thing. You see, and we're sitting around. See,
Yeah.
and we're okay with the Democratic Party giving us street names and building names. You know, putting our names on buildings and streets, and that's all we get for our vote.
Yeah. Just like to this day, there's a whole lot of people don't know the way they determine how large they're going to build a jail in a community is they take test scores from 3rd and 4th grade African-American males, and that's how they determine how large a jail is going to be in that community. Let me say it one more time. No, Marty is not a Republican. No, Brenda is not a Republican. All right, y'all. That's just a joke. That's what Pamela Price put out there, that Brenda is a Republican. She's not. Trust me, she's not. They take third. I've heard some people say 3rd grade. I've heard some people say 4th grade. I was taught it was 4th grade. So that's why I say it's either 3rd or 4th, but it's not. It's 3rd. Okay, there's a school teacher right here. They take test scores from 3rd grade Black boys, African-American boys. And they figure by the time, how old are you in 3rd grade?
Yola, how old you are in the 3rd grade?
8.
Like 7.
No.
You're about
about 9.
Depends on what school. Depends on what school district. You're probably between 7 and 8.
Okay, so you're like 8 years on the 3rd grade. So
Yeah,
they
7 or 8 years old, depending on school.
Clear people have determined that by the time you're 8 years old, you should know what you're gonna be, what college you're going to, what street you're gonna play on, how much money you should make. You should know right from wrong, huh? Right. Here's a school teacher right here. They determined by 8 years old, you need to know all of that. Really? So you mean to tell me little Bobby and little
maybe you gotta see if they Bobby Sue or if they Bobby
little Fitzgerald know what they're going to do by the time they're 8? And then check this out, y'all.
So you just ignored what I just said?
No, I didn't hear what you
You
said.
heard what you said.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't, because if I lose my thought process, I ain't gonna be
okay. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh, you come, you hold that. So watch this, y'all. This is the bigger problem I have. The same people who take test scores and evaluate Black boys and determine how large they're gonna build a jail in that city. Here's the bigger picture, y'all. Is the same men that buy stock in the jail to incarcerate them and then make money off of them.
Of course.
Because see, some of my people are saying
privatization of prisons, Marty. The privatization of prisons is one of the largest corporations in America.
But it's not just that. All criminal activities and anything that go along with criminal activities is a moneymaker. If we stop the crime, it's a lot of people that's going to be out of a job because their jobs are geared around murders, people going to jail, trying to keep them out of jail. You know what I'm saying? So remember when I told you at my last ceasefire meeting, it was a young man that stood up and told all the CBOs in the room and the people, you know, all the law enforcement, what y'all doing ain't gonna work. Number one, we figure out the crime that we want to do. We count how long we got to sit down, and then we go do the crime. That young man stood up and said that.
Yeah.
He was a teenager. So that's where their mindset is. But these people got parents and family members. I don't understand where the interaction from home comes in. Where my mama didn't play that. You know what I'm saying?
Mine didn't either.
But she didn't play that. My mama was bouncing quarters off of beds. You know what I mean? You better know how that bed has to be how it's supposed to be. You ain't getting out of this house until my house is clean. My mama would tie
My dad told me my dad told me and my brothers, he said, you can go to jail if you want to, but don't call me to bail you out because I'm not doing it.
Yeah. My mother
your
told me
own.
that. If y'all go to jail, don't call me. Don't call me collect. You're going to stay in there until you do your time because you know better.
So don't be calling me.
Right.
Y'all raised right.
But the parents now are, you know, within the last decade can almost play on the playground with their kids. So what we grew up with is not there. But then they don't have the kind of parents that we had. I tell my kids all the time, y'all could never live in the age that I did. My mama would be beating y'all every day. You know, my mama would line us all up. If my sister did something, she was lining us all up. We all would get
everybody got it.
It's
Everybody
your
got
responsibility to tell your brother, your sister not to do that. You know what I mean? And we've gotten so far away from that, but then there's nobody stepping in to help, you know, kind of bridge those gaps and build our community back, because it needs to happen, or all of our young men will be in jail. They'll be there.
Brenda, they said we can't whoop our children these days. See, they've been listening to Dr. Spock. See, he told them that whipping children is not a good thing, and so now they got laws that say you can't whip your children.
You gotta have an open hand.
Yes.
Look,
I be threatening my adult kids.
My mother had an open hand with that extension cord wrapped around it and that belt. And also, y'all remember when we was coming up, you had cordless phones. It was one phone, and the jack was in the living room, and you had 100-foot cord that could go.
And you take it all the way through the house.
Yeah, that's what my mama used to whip Michelle and Sean with.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I wish we can go back there, but you know, it's gotten so far away from that where it is what it is. We just have to learn how to deal with it and figure out how to help the parents and the kids. You can't help the kids and not help the parents. That's like taking a glass out of the dirt, washing it off, and putting it back in the dirt. It's still dirt.
Yeah.
So I guess this must have started in the 80s. Then the crack epidemic in the 80s. I don't know. These, you know, you got new grandmothers now. You're a grandmama at, you know, at 30, at 31. At 31, you're a grandmama now.
We're having babies at 7 and 8 now.
You know. Ain't no Medeas in the grandma no more, because these women these days don't want to be called granny or grandma.
That's like right. That. I'm new.
Yeah, my point is like my mama. My kids never called my mama grandma or nothing like that. Mama, y'all call me DD. I'm DD.
My oldest granddaughter is funny. She's gonna be 13 on Tuesday. She started calling me Nunu. So I went to her class to pick her up one day. They said, "Oh, Liney, your grandmother." That's not my grandmother. That's my Nunu. She had a little fist balled up and everything. About to beat the kids because they called me grandma. And then when the baby came, she did not want the baby to call me Nunu. You can't. That's my Nunu. Girl, she's gonna call me Nunu as well.
You started something.
Yes, I
started. You started a trend. We're gonna follow it.
And she was stomping. I said, "Girl, it's the same thing. Calm down. Don't beat the kids up because it called me your grandmama."
Yeah.
But yeah.
I guess that's when I don't know. I guess that's when grandmothers start raising kids, and y'all know that you know, grandparents these days don't get our kids like they got us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They don't get.
I don't think I ever whipped my grandkids.
Different day and time.
I just talk and they can be scared. I've never whipped them.
I ain't Pop Squeaky or Mister. I haven't. Jewel don't get no spankings. You can just look at her.
She'll go sit down.
Yeah. No.
That little baby will run up to you. No, I love you. You're mad at me. Are you gonna whoop me? Girl, I ain't never whooped you. Go sit down over there.
Hey, Brenda, you know, notice Wayne ain't said nothing here. His grandkids ain't got spanked either.
You ain't spanked him, baby.
Why? He like a church mouse over there. He ain't said nothing. Hey, did you spank him?
Well.
Why you spanking him?
Listen, Brittany, I ain't gonna be testifying. I ain't gonna test a lie. I spoil my grandkids because I can. But they do get spankings though. See, they daddy take care of that.
Exactly. No, my grandmother used
daddy take care of that. So I figure why should they get double spanked if they're gonna get spanked by daddy? I'll give them the ice cream.
I live a
Listen,
my grandbaby.
Now hold on, stop it just a doggone minute. Y'all know doggone well when your parents picked you up from your grandmama house, your grandparents' house,
Hello.
and they said, I had to spank Marty behind the day. You got it when you got home too.
Yeah, you got it before you got to the car. She was.
Oh yeah. See, because see, we had to go get the switch. See, we had to go pick the switch off the tree and bring it to grandma.
Yes, that plum tree in yard.
And she would and then she would sit there and pick off the leaves while she's telling you. She's telling you why you're going to get whipped, and you be like, "Can you just hurry up and spank me, please?"
Why you got it worse though if you didn't bring a good switch.
Oh yeah,
let me go get it.
Oh, you got the living hell beat out of you.
It make you go back and get a different one.
Bishop,
my brother my grandmother told my brother one time to go get a switch. He came back with one of those vines from ivy tree. She said, "No, go get me 4 or 5 of them."
See, and I'm putting them together, and I'm gonna let you have it.
Put them together.
Yeah.
He thought he was being slick.
Yeah.
But check this out, y'all. Hey, we ain't on drugs.
Oh, yeah.
No,
we're not criminals.
No. I ain't been to jail either.
Well, I did go to jail for a warrant, but it was only for like a day though. So and I taught Bible class, and then my hood looked out for me. They had commissary for me.
Oh,
yeah, I was all right in there for my 24 hours.
So it's when they start taking that right away from parents and grandparents, that's when kids started. They ain't scared of nobody. They ain't scared of teachers. They ain't scared of nobody.
Nah, wayward.
Well, they beating up the teachers. Shit.
I know.
I
would be fine.
In college, if you're a junior, you can substitute teach and make that $100 and some a day. Really? I did that for like 3 times. And that boy told me that he was gonna whoop my ASS. And I told him, you try it. Your mom and daddy gonna be buying a black suit for you. He told me, I'm gonna tell my daddy, let's see what you say then. And I knew then I was gonna be in Fulton County Jail for manslaughter.
Oh my.
I was like, nope, I'll go do something else because this is not the job for me.
So that's when you decided to go work in the industry where they bury the dead, not create the dead, right?
Yeah, Doc. Because I was gonna meet that little boy in
somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna meet
one end or the other.
Home one day. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've had a great show tonight. Dr. Brown was a great voice tonight. People were blessed by him. Bishop Miller.
It's amazing. His mind is amazing, Marty. It's at 81 years old.
81. A stroke, almost paralyzed on his left side. And still stands and preach, still drives. Mind is still bright.
He drives.
Yes, he does.
Mm.
You know, I make him sit in the passenger seat when I drive him.
I heard him in 1987 speak at a conference, and I can still remember the silence in that building when he got done.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be silence, and they're gonna be on their feet giving him a standing ovation. He's a great oratorical doc.
Boy, it was silence, and he spoke for about an hour and a half.
Are you serious?
Nobody left. Nobody got up and moved.
87, he didn't have no stroke. 87, he was great, doc.
And I still remember what he talked. I still remember what he talked about. He talked about the disenfranchisement of the Negro. I never forget it.
Oh yeah, doc. Well, doc, he was in his 40s 40 years ago.
Yeah.
He was bright, doc. He was bright 40 years ago, doc. Yeah, doc. Yes, sir. All right, Brenda, you want to talk about your event on Saturday? You want to invite people? It's on our pages.
The Family Support Advocates, which I'm an executive member, will be hosting a family fun day at Mosswood Park from 10 to 2. Everything is free. We have food. We're going to have games. We're going to be raffling off TVs and bikes and games. And we're going to have game tables for the adults, dominoes, chess, checkers, life-size games, jumpers for the kids. So come out.
All right. Let me say this, you all. I'm going to try to get there. I do have a memorial to go to. It is my god sister's father's memorial. So that's why if y'all don't see me, it ain't because I'm anti-Brenda and I'm not supportive. But I must be at this event on Saturday to support my sister. I have to be there. My children are singing and I'm doing something. And we're going to be there on Saturday to support my sister, Tori, Logan, her mom, her sister, and their entire family. My goddaughter, Pooh. That's where we're going to be on Saturday at 12 noon. All right.
What's happening with Tori?
Her father's memorial service.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Her father's memorial service is this coming Saturday. I want to take this time to thank all of you all. Some of you all are on here every Saturday, and I appreciate you as the host of Real Talk. And my crew, I call them my crew because they are my crew. That's my brother and my sister. We click together so well, y'all.
Can I put the church finger up?
Yeah, you can put the church finger up. We want to just say thank you, y'all.
No, I had something to say, Marty. The website is up now. If you want to donate to the Pamela Price recall, you can make your donations online. And I need to give it to Marty so he can post it since he ain't scared of nobody.
I ain't scared of nobody. Post it on my page.
Yeah, but we do. The website is up. We're taking donations. We have lawyers' fees and things of that nature. So, yeah, I'll get it to you.
All right. Y'all do what your heart tells you to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm pushing that hard line now. I'll be back.
Nothing. Y'all heard Dr. Brown. Nothing is more important than public safety in our cities.
He's right.
He's right. Nothing's more safe.
Absolutely correct. Old people can't walk across the street nowadays.
Yep.
It's pitiful.
And don't nobody help them walk across the street no more either.
No, they're going to do is videotape it.
All right, you all. Y'all have a great night. Be blessed. Wayne, Brenda, I'm going to do what the devil don't do. I'm going to leave y'all alone tonight.
I'm going downstairs.
Bishop said he has COVID, so he may not breathe there, Brenda. Bishop, we praying for you, man.
Who got COVID?
Bishop Milliken.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Really?
He says, I have COVID, so I may not be there.
Okay.
All right. So you stay home and get some rest, Bishop.
Exactly.
We don't want to we don't want
drink a lot of fluids.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
You have a
Good night, everybody.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.